How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week. Is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday? Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Forgot to turn on my software. Give me a second. Here we go. I'm gonna have to manually click in while the software loads up. How are you doing, people? We're here. We're ready. We're ready to talk about the market. Just waiting for my Stream Deck software to load up, and now we are all good to go. How was your day today? My day was green once again. Let's go. Mainly off of small cap. I was very small cap heavy. I guess that's where all the fun was today. A lot of small caps were moving around. Was able to capitalize on one small cap to the long side, another small cap to the short side, and I'm happy with how I traded both of those names. And then I traded some large caps too. I think I only had one real loser on the day. Every other stock I traded, if I remember correctly, was a winner for me. So pretty decent day for me, but obviously could have had a way bigger day had I put some real risk on these small cap names. Not really somebody who trades small cap on the regular, so I didn't really put some real risk on the table. I had some risk and I got paid for putting that risk on the board, but had I put real risk on the board, today could have been a completely different picture on the game. So it is what it is. Learning a new sector, learning a new game, completely new game. Small cap is not the same as large cap, especially when it comes to day trading it, and when you're looking to short it, when you're looking to long, you could get easily short squeezed and so on. So so much craziness that could happen in the small cap basket, and I'm happy to dabble in it and actually capitalize on some of the moves that came out of the market today. Looking for maybe more opportunities coming in, as the IWM was looking hella bullish today. IWM had a monster rally in it, most likely because a lot of these small cap names are going higher. Even some of the growth names like Wolf, which is a semiconductor growth name, not really a small cap, but even other small cap growth names have been recently catching some traction. Today we had Robinhood moving up to the upside thanks regards to the event that they had today around 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Basically, they were talking about how Robinhood will be introducing the futures markets, the options markets. Basically, what that means is more opportunities for people who trade on Robinhood to lose money on, and more money for Robinhood to make, more money Citadel to make. So bullish for Robinhood at the end of the day. They're offering you more ways for you to lose your money on, and I promise you, no million-dollar trader is trading with Robinhood, right? It just simply isn't. So people who are trading with Robinhood is designed for a very specific reason. It's a gamification of the market to the point where you get excited to play the game, but really it's not a game, it's real life, and you're losing real money. So I mean, Robinhood has been so good at what they do. They so good that even other companies in Canada has basically followed that same model. Wealthsimple, which is actually a broker that I use for my swing account, for my long-term account, because for that, execution speed is not really that important, so it doesn't matter. So for accounts like that, Robinhood is fine. But when you're day trading, you want to have execution speed, and that's why Robinhood, I don't think any million-dollar trader, the keyword trader, is using Robinhood. It's just simply not happening. But they did announce also a desktop application coming out. Not really too much of a move in the after hours for Robinhood off of that event based on how bullish the event looks. So maybe we'll see the stock really popping up higher tomorrow in the pre-market, and then for us to make some opportunities off of that. But Robinhood for sure on the watch list, along with some of the nuclear energy names. Apparently Amazon teaming up with another company in the nuclear basket. Not too long ago we had Microsoft teaming up with I think another company said they're going to generate nuclear energy and provide it to Microsoft for their AI needs and so on. And now we're seeing Google, Amazon, all other companies looking to adopt the nuclear energy, the hype. So looks like that is the next big thing. OKLO, SMR, NNE, and obviously, what do you need for nuclear? You need uranium. So you are a uranium ETF carrying to the high side today. All of those stocks also on the watch list. We got Novavax pushing a little bit lower, so Novavax on the watch list. And then some names that report earnings today. Actually only one name that we care about that report earnings today. It's Alcoa, AA. So looking to see how Alcoa reported. I actually have a paper trade on Alcoa options, so I'm interested to see how that trade played out. And for that, I'll need to open up options AI, because I'm trying to learn how to trade options basically. So options AI has an amazing paper trading tool for options, and I'm going to play with it. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat and see where my position is. I'll keep that as a surprise with you guys. So Alcoa, TSM reporting tomorrow pre-market. Obviously the semiconductor industry with how ASML has been affecting the market. So semiconductor industry as a whole basket. The banking sector as a basket. We also got the Bitcoin sector as the basket. Coinbase, MSTR, Mara, IBIT, all on the watch list. And then obviously the large cap sector. So quite a bit to talk about, lots on store. Let's head over to the full screen. As soon as we dive into the full screen, I quickly want to mention a comment from TH over here. TH says, Prad, the meme is no fun if it's you. Why not be Aunt Kathy for once? I guess you're not wrong about Aunt Kathy for once, but you know, that is not me, brother. That is the CEO of Robinhood. That is not me. That's hilarious though that you think that was actually me. Nope. I appreciate though. That's a big compliment. Thank you. Hi, Prad, says Victor. Victor, great stream this morning. Obviously missed your afternoon stream if you had one, because too busy walking my dog as soon as I get home. So I apologize for that. But my dog just doesn't leave me alone. As soon as I walk through the door, he needs me to take him for a walk. I get it. Poor guy's been sitting home all day doing nothing, and he wants his exercise. He wants to go sniff the plants and pee every single 5 centimeters. Well, not 5. Every single 5 meters apart. He's gotta pee. The dog's gotta do the dog duty. So sadly, I miss your evening shows, but I caught your morning shows now. That's good. Good evening, Prad. Smash the like and getting ready for tomorrow's action. Yes, sir. Check out John. If you haven't hit the like John already, go hit the like, baby. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Alex, I'm thinking this is Razbot. Alex, what's up, brother? Long time no see. Today, I was actually thinking about you. No cap. The first thing I said in the start of the day today on the Discord, obviously you're not in the Discord because you are a naughty little boy. The first thing I said to start the day today, where is it? Holy small caps, Razbot will be loving it today. Good morning, everyone. That's how I started off my messages today, and I knew that you would show up to the stream today. So let me know how your trades went on the small cap. Let me show you how my trades have been going on the small cap today. I'm pretty surprised that I pulled off some of these trades. Yesterday, DRUG, that was a monster trade to the long side. Obviously didn't really capture too much money on that one. It's a little bit of a regret trading that one the way I did yesterday, but today caught a beautiful move on VS from about $5 all the way into $9, at which point I could have flipped short, but I didn't really pay for shorts on VS, so I could not flip short. So you know, I think I missed the move on this stock. Later on in the day, it might have gone back into $3 or so on VS. So this one, potentially keeping this one on watch if you actually want to look for a retracement. Lots of 500% runners today, insane. So VS was one of my most profitable names on the day today. QNRX was the other one. This one started popping off later on in the day, reclaimed the $1, but then pushed into what was on the daily chart. QNRX, if you can see on the daily chart, right into that 175. So anywhere from 150 to 175, I was looking for the stock to show me exhaustion, and I got it right around this candle. Right as the stock was actually halting, I was looking to get some shares on the halt in, but never got filled on the halt. So I started offering on the stock over here, risking the re-entry through the halt price. It never went back through the halt price, so I managed to catch a nice move back into $1, a little bit below $1, and then it gave me a similar trade once again right back into the very same area. Popped up, halted up after opening up from the halt, didn't really have any juice, so I got short as soon as I could on the move down before it halted, and basically my risk was very defined, very tight risk with a very easy reward move to the downside. Eventually the stock actually goes all the way into 70 cents, so that would have been a monster short over there had I just kept on to this trade going into the close. But you know, not really something that I know how to trade, not a setup that I am very good at, not a small cap person either. So I'm pretty happy with what I did, moving it back into VWAP. But wow, all the way back into 50 cents, 70 cents, basically going into the position over here on QNRX. Monster trade opportunities today in the small cap world. Here is my Nvidia scalp short. So basically got short into 133 to 134 area and getting out into the 132. Didn't really get too much out of it. Obviously Nvidia turning around and then completely ripping off the shorts later on in the day. So I'm happy to have only kept this trade as a scalp. Here is ENPH. Remember ENPH, we were talking about how it's either 90 under over, and if we start seeing a good 5-minute pattern on this position holding above, somewhere above $90, potentially a long for us to play into. It played out perfectly, exactly as planned. So if you look at ENPH right off the open, it flushed into yesterday's low, failed break under yesterday's low, bounced right off the pre-market lows, and started going higher. Once we got higher, it creates a beautiful 5-minute bottoming pattern right above today's open. So not only did we bottom out into $91 slash pre-market low, we also bottomed out into 91.61, showing you that buyers are actually stepping up on this position, so allowing me to get long into the range lows and then basically scalping out on the rip up to the north sides and showing me any failure. So I basically captured that move right into $92, $93, and then after it moved back lower, I was able to be basically forced out of the trade. It did just chop out a little bit and then continue to go a lot higher. Had I just stuck with the trade a little bit better, I would have caught that move, and you know, whatever, I'm not crying about it. DJT was supposed to be a scalp, but I was too focused with a couple other positions and too focused, busy getting yelled at by my manager. So I just said, fuck this trade, and I just closed it. I said, damn it, I don't even want to be involved in another trade if all that is going to happen is me get yelled at. So I'm just, no, I'm done. Just close this, just take my profits and run away. C was my only real loser today, although DJT, as you saw, was a tiny little loser, not a real loser by any means on the notional number, very, very little. C was my only real loser today. I think I played it according to plan, but apparently the plan was shit, which makes sense. The plan might have been shit. So it was basically 64 under over, which was yesterday's VWAP. The stock clearly was holding above yesterday's VWAP, or right around yesterday's VWAP, and kept chopping around while the whole sector was strong. Morgan Stanley was strong, XLF was strong. So I don't know why I was forcing a short here on Citibank while the whole sector was strong. A little bit of stupidity, I guess, just boredom kicking in, me wanting to be in a trade, me wanting to just make more money. Instead of doing that, I actually leaked some money on this position and gave back some profits on this. However, I think I ended the day at my highest PNL, so I actually made that money back later on other positions. I think QNRX was that other position later on in the day that helped me make that money back, baby. All right, so that is basically my trades on the day. Hopefully you guys were able to capture somewhat similar opportunities. You know, there was moves on the large caps. Apple completely pulled back to the downside today right off the open, but then bounced off of the 230 area, which we were talking about, which is also last week's high. So bouncing right off of that 230, giving you a little bit of a long opportunity. I think if I remember correctly, Nvidia sold off. I guess I do remember because I traded it. Nvidia sold off right off the open, but then reversed back to the upside, staying up 3% on Nvidia, basically showing you that it wants to go test that 140, 142 area, which was the all-time highs, potentially incoming very soon. So lots of opportunities were there today. However, I was just really focused on the small cap names, which I'm very happy that I was, because they paid me. But tomorrow I want to focus on some of these other names that were kind of shadow movers without me really even knowing why they were moving. I only knew why they were moving kind of later on the way home when I was doing the research, because I was more fascinated with the obviously small cap names. These are the nuclear energy names, URA. I saw them going off throughout the day. The volume on a lot of them was crazy. The moves on a lot of them were crazy, but honestly, I just kind of ignored them. So that was my fault. I need to maybe not ignore them and maybe find out why they're moving right away and do that research, because there was a really good setup on OKLO that you could have potentially taken for a long, and I want to say it's right around this $15 area. So if you go to the 1 minute chart, on the 5 minute it really doesn't look that good, but on the where is it, right here on the 1 minute chart, you can see how the stock goes from basically $12 into 15, a straight one-shot move. Then it has a little bit of back and forth before 15. If you took that 15 breakout, the stock never really looked back, and it gave you a full 80 cent, 90 cent move all the way up to $16. Then it pulls back into 14.50-ish or so, right into these lows, and then finds another bid, catches another bid, and goes into a completely new high of $17 almost. So pretty crazy moves being presented over here across the board on the sector. URA, for example, uranium ETF moving 7%. That is insane. So gotta keep a watch on these names. I think SMR was the one that got the Amazon partnership. Let's actually go confirm if it is. No, it was NNE. No, it wasn't. It was SMR. Okay, so SMR was the one that got the Amazon partnership. What was it again? Signed with Amazon agreements for nuclear energy projects to address growing energy demands. Okay, so SMR was the one that got the Amazon partnership. You went up 40% on the day today. OKLO went up 41%, so pretty much the same thing. 54 million shares over here. SMR, how much did you have? 40 million shares, basically the same thing. What did NNE do? NNE brought in 12 million shares and basically a 40% move to the upside also. And we already saw that uranium went up. I know a lot of other small cap energy names also making a little bit of a traction off of this catalyst, but for me, out of these four names that I just mentioned, well, three names that I just mentioned, OKLO, SMR, NNE, the other one's a ETF, uranium ETF, URA, basically whichever one has the most volume in these three names for me is going to be the most important to keep an eye on in the pre-market. Not saying that there is an easy retracement tomorrow. This catalyst is fresh, hot, juicy, just hot off the press, so there could be an easy day too long. So you want to watch how these positions behave right off of their day one anchored VWAP. So basically today's VWAP, you want to see how these stocks behave on any sort of a dip. Right now today's VWAP is right around that $15 area that we were talking about. So we want to see this position, you know, going into 15, but then just ripping past 15, not even spending too much around $15. So keeping an eye on OKLO around that $15 area, which was today's VWAP. And obviously with the move like today, you're watching the other technical levels such as today's low, today's high. All other technical levels are going to be much lower. So the only real technical levels we have are today's low, today's high. Above that, you could use these previous highs as some sort of a reference to play off with. But you know, the stock could easily start going to new all-time high territories very soon. This sector potentially could catch some actual traction. Here is SMR going into new all-time high. So the level such as today's high, today's low, today's VWAP are way more important on this name, also because the stock actually has an actual catalyst, signed deal agreement with one of the biggest companies in the publicly traded world. So Amazon deal is pretty big enough for this company to obviously go into a new all-time high. Now, does it manage to get above today's high and stay above today's high? At the moment, I think on the daily chart, we see today's VWAP is around 1760, sorry. So 1740 is what I see today's VWAP coming in on the 5-minute chart. So basically 1740 to 1760. You don't want to see the stock below that whole range, I want to say, and immediately bouncing away from this range. Once we even get a tiny pullback to the VWAP from today. So bouncing off of this level, SMR moving right back into today's high, and a breakout above today's high will be insane. I don't think that is an opportunity that is in store, especially with the monster move like today. I think something that's going to potentially play out will be the position gaps a little bit higher, and then we can look for that potential retrace opportunity back, either a gap close into 1950 or the stock is unable to hold above 1950 and then slowly sells off into what could potentially be around yesterday's VWAP around 1750, 1760, or maybe even $18 on SMR. On NNE, this one didn't really have a signed agreement like SMR, but it also went up because it announced that it appointed former U.S. Department of Energy CFO as its chairman of the executive advisory board. So amazing day to drop that news catalyst for a nuclear energy company, especially with all other kind of craziness going on in the sector. So I guess a little manufactured on this move. I think if any one of them is really bound to pull back and pull back drastically, I think it's this one. This could have a little bit of sympathy, but I think this one has the biggest potential to pull back to the downside if there is selling, just because how lackluster I think that catalyst is. Okay, yeah, cool, you appointed former U.S. Department of Energy CFO, so who cares? I mean, we saw Nike kind of rally from that news, but then it got slammed right back after its earnings report, right? So we really need to see the earnings report kind of bake in. I'm happy to see Nike going back up here, though. I'm sure one person who's not happy watching Nike go up right now is TH. TH probably kicking rocks at the moment watching Nike go up. So NNE, keeping this one on watch too. URA, obviously, the uranium ETF. If you are looking to create nuclear energy, you need uranium. So obviously keeping this one on watch without doubt. Novavax making a little bit of a move down today. I think not too long ago, Novavax actually made a pop up because they had a FDA catalyst for some COVID vaccination. And remember what we said, really, COVID? Who's taking COVID vaccinations? And then, boom, all of a sudden we got a hold placed from the FDA based on concerns related to damaged nerves from the Novavax COVID flus. Wow, even after all this time, Novavax can't figure out how to make a proper COVID vaccination. So more of a reason for people to not take COVID vaccinations at this point. You know, I'm not being an anti-vaxxer, but it's just, at this point, it's a joke. At this point, it's a joke. Come on. And Novavax obviously getting slammed down off of that catalyst, down 20%. This stock is going to be on SSR. That means short sale restriction. It will be SSR today. It will be SSR tomorrow. So watching how if there's going to be any opportunity to get short on the pops, because those are the only opportunities you're gonna get. Also keep an eye on where the stock pulled back into. It pulled right back into the 200 moving simple moving average on the daily chart. Usually that is seen as a buying moving average. People buy off the 200 moving average usually, especially when a stock is above the 200 and it pulls back into the 200. People look to snag up as many shares as they can. So not wanting to fight the selling into the 200 moving average, I more so rather want to short the pop. So go into today's high, show me weakness around today's high. Go into today's VWAP, show me weakness around today's VWAP. Then only I'm looking for a potential day 2 play. Without that, I'm not really looking to do too much on Novavax, because I don't want to be pressing into the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. You don't want to be fighting technicals like those looking for a short. There's not much room to the downside when you're walking into a wall. Once we actually get below these moving averages and find selling below the moving averages, then that opens up some real short opportunities for us to play with. So keeping an eye on Novavax for us to give us that play, but I don't think it gives us that play tomorrow, especially with how big of a play it gave us today on NVAX. DRUG down 25% today, but I don't think this stock is done juicing the game just yet. This one went monster yesterday, monster mode. It actually held quite well today on the pullbacks. So I don't think this one's done just yet. It will be on SSR tomorrow also. It was on SSR today, expecting volume to die down a little bit as we continue holding in these areas, trap some more shorts, and as more shorts keep getting trapped, the squeeze coming into play on this position. They already squeezed them once or twice. A lot of people lost a lot of money on this name, so be careful if you're swinging a short on a name like this one. Maybe intraday shorts, if you are shorting the right level and being patient enough, go for it, but you have to pay for shorts, so you got to keep that one in mind too. I think today was fairly cheap. It was $6 for 100 shares, so it was fairly cheap for DRUG if you were looking for that opportunity. DJT holding its gains. It's almost like the market's pricing in the Trump victory. So Trump victory being priced in pretty hard at the moment. DJT carrying higher. I don't think I'll get the opportunity to get that $13, $15 price before election. I mean, how long before election do we have? 2 weeks before election, so I don't think I have that opportunity at all. Just let this trade go at this point. But as a day trade, you're getting so many opportunities as a day day trade every single day. Notice how the stock actually rejected perfectly off the 200-day moving average. At the rate we're going, we're about to start getting above the 200-day moving average on DJT, which is pretty surprising, insane. Wave Life Sciences up 74% today. I think this is another small cap name. Had a catalyst of some sort. What was it over here? Whatever this catalyst is. First ever therapeutic RNA editing in humans from restoration to trial. Alpha 1 anti-tricepin deficiency. I mean, well, I'm losing my mind just reading that. So whatever that exact word-to-word catalyst was, took the stock into new levels. So didn't really trade this one today, but mainly looking for potential barriers around today's high on this position for me to look short. If this stock is not able to find buying above today's high, then I want to look for that short return back to the downside. If this is a small cap, let's quickly go see actually what the float is on this one. WVE 120 million floats. Not really too small cap, but it is a small enough of a cap for me to have some fun with. What is the market cap on this company? 2.3 billion market cap. Okay, somewhat of a legitimate company, I guess. So have you done something like this before? I guess you have. You've had a multiple day run up. Yeah, so for me, honestly, it's going to be how does the stock behave at today's high? How does the stock behave at today's high? Either we have buying through today's high and the stock blasts through for a day 2 run up, or we have selling near today's high, at which point I look for an easy short from that point. So watching WVE without a problem. Halloween in 2 weeks also, says TH. Thank you for the spooky reminder, TH. Appreciate that. Let's go for Alcoa. So I was previously talking about my trades, my paper trades. Oh no, it's down. I lost a little bit of money. Looks like Mara, I'm up a little bit. I'm paper trading Mara options over here, but I also have this actual trade on my swing account. So I'm swinging that actual option, but a little bit pricier than what this one actually was. Alcoa, so I bet that Alcoa would go down. Looks like Alcoa actually went higher. Now kick rocks. I guess I made the right call by taking this trade on paper instead of taking it on a live account. Good job. So Alcoa AA actually making a little bit of a pop here in the after hours off the earnings report. Shout out to that. Let's go quickly take a read at the report using our good friends Benzinga. If you are interested in checking out Benzinga, click the link down below in the description. Not only do we have earnings reports, which I can't find at the moment at all, which is awesome. I mean, come on, don't make me read a stupid long report. Give me the report. Give me the loot. Come on, Alcoa, you're not doing, this is not a good case for you over here, man. You usually do a better job than this. They usually do a better job than this. This is pretty sad. I mean, I guess they're gonna make me read the whole actual report itself by going through the highlights over here instead of they summarizing the report for me. So I guess we'll just go through this real quick. Net income increased. Adjusted net income increased also. Adjusted EBITDA excluding special items increased. Completed the acquisition of AL, I'm guessing that's what the ticker was. I remember trading that trade. Announced an agreement for the sale of 25.1% interest in the Madden's joint venture. Okay, announced progress towards a strategic corporation agreement with partner to support continued Cyprian Corporation's paid quarterly cash dividend of 10 cents per share, totaling 26 million, include newly issued shares for the acquisition of AL. Finished the third quarter with cash balance of 1.3 billion. Decreased production by 4% due to the full. Okay. Decreased 9%. Decreased 6%. Okay, not looking too good. Production levels are decreasing. What's going on over here? Key action, strategic. Looks like another venture that they're taking 25% acquisition on. They already acquired a company previously. Western operational. Okay, holding 25%. They're talking about a bunch of holdings of other companies over there. The following outlook does not include forward-looking non-GAAP. Okay. Alcoa expects total revenue, but does this have something to compare with against? Usually this is all the info that Benzinga summarizes for you instead of you having to actually read the damn report yourself. So I'm pretty disappointed in Benzinga over here. No shout out to Benzinga today. No, I'm joking. Always shout out to Benzinga, but today they just did a boo-boo. They did a boo-boo over here. Anyways, the only thing that matters is price action. So clearly the stock breaking out, going to the high side. As long as we start staying above some of these key levels over here, looks like 45.50 was the key level. Did we at least go into 45.50? We basically got into 45.50, 46, and are now holding somewhere between that range. So it's an easy no-brainer trade at this point. Either the stock stays above 45.50, 46 and gets ready for a blast off to the north side, or there is no long on this position, and I'm not really interested for the short either. This is Alcoa, AA. There's gonna be way better names tomorrow to be trading. I'm guessing, especially in the small cap, in the Bitcoin names, in the nuclear energy names. So my priority for Alcoa is just dying down the more I think about the stock at the moment. So I'm just gonna go over to the next one, a name that Victor H actually mentioned not too long ago. He said TSM is a big indicator stock tomorrow. So TSM obviously reporting tomorrow pre-market, pretty big indicator of what the overall semiconductor sector could potentially do. TSM, one of the biggest manufacturers of semiconductors. They, if I remember correctly, the last earnings report, they got beat down pretty hard, but then they bounced right back up from that beat down, right? So that was right here. Yeah, they got beat down pretty hard, went into the 200 SMA, and then bounced off the 200 SMA sharply, right back into the all-time high. Got it. This is why you don't want to really be shorting into the 200 SMA. You want to be careful, always looking for a short into the 200 SMA. So TSM monster moved back up ever since then. I'm thinking about, how potential trades could set up. One easy opportunity is the all-time high over here. Either the stock gets above the all-time high of 194 and stays above 194, or it has trouble into 194. So there is a very easy trade opportunity right there into this level. But if we don't play around this level, this is where you have to now start creating a plan based on the price action that the market is actually giving you. You have to now look at the earnings report instead of just using a nice and simple game plan. You're gonna have to actually put some work into creating a game plan. So nice and simple game plans for me happen right around 175 to 170 area, or this 194 to 195 area. So these are the easy game plans. Anything in between, you're gonna have to have some finesse with that game plan. Obviously reports pre-market, so your guess is as good as mine as to where the stock could go. We do have one tool at our disposal, which is Options AI. Usually tells you how much percentage a stock is expected to move, and it is expected to move about 5.1% off of that earnings move. Let me quickly show you right there, 5.1% off that earnings move. So either a high of 197 or a low of 178 coming into play on this position. 197 obviously higher than 194. If the stock is at 197 pre-market, pulls back into 194 and then bounces off of 194. That's a no-brainer long right there. If the stock goes down over here, gets below 170 or even 178, it's right around here. The stock goes into 175, bounces off of 175, easy long. But if we start getting below 175, I think there could be some weakness over here on the semiconductor sector, especially because ASML had a real day 2 play today. We got under yesterday's low. We actually gapped below. We pulled back, rejected after gap close, and then started selling right back down. So we popped a little bit higher, closed the gap, and then we sold right back down over here on ASML, showing you that there could be a little bit of weakness across the board in the sector, but Nvidia basically carrying the sector on its back today, carrying this whole sector on its back and keeping it up 0.06%. So shout out to Nvidia. Also shout out to WOLF, up 15% today, another semiconductor name. Not sure how Micron did today. Oh, Micron looking like it wants to go back higher. Shout out to Micron. Currently reclaiming the 200 SMA over here for Micron. Shout out to you. So TSM, Nvidia, Wolf, SMCI trying to play with the $50 area. It tried to get above 50 a little bit, but then it struggled. So SMCI, obviously, if there is a burst through 50 and actual power through 50, maybe TSM can actually give it that power through 50, then SMCI will have a very big blast off potential through this 50. So TSM could give this one some sympathy potential, so keep this one on watch without a doubt. AVGO, I think this one's volume is dying down, but with TSM's earning, doesn't hurt to keep an eye on it also. Hopefully TSM's earning gives ASML a little bit of relief, because this one's getting absolutely smoked at the moment. AMD, not really something I like to day trade anyways, but AMD has been pulling back a little bit. AMD was almost at 170 and now at 150. Yeesh. UAL, boy oh boy, was I wrong on United Airlines. I guess you know, when my theory is wrong, I am very good at doing one thing, which is staying the fuck away from the trade. So as soon as I knew that UAL was not going to be a short on the day in the pre-market, we actually gapped up and the stock was playing around today's high, and then we started going higher and higher and higher. I had a short planned in mind for my trade. I just said screw it, I'm not gonna look at that stock, so I just completely ignored it. Wow, what we would did the stock rip up today. So UAL was a monster move. TH mentioning that UAL was actually #1 on the poll yesterday, and the poll was basically, what airliners do you guys prefer the most? So it looks like UAL taking advantage of that poll. Maybe I should have used that poll as an indicator to start smashing the long on this name today. So maybe a little bit of a miss, but obviously keeping this one on watch tomorrow, either for a day 2 opportunity, or it has a little bit of a struggle off of today's high and then pulls right back down. So keeping an eye on this one right into 73.65 area. Either it struggles into that 73.65 to 74 pocket, or it sells or it blasts through that area and keeps on ripping higher for a day 2 opportunity. Morgan Stanley reported pretty well today, so they ripped up higher. I think another new all-time high coming into play for Morgan Stanley. Shout out to Morgan Stanley right here. JP Morgan potentially rallying back into all-time high, so watching JP Morgan along with Morgan Stanley, and those are basically the only 2 banks I really kind of care about. JP Morgan, not even a day 3 anymore. This is like a day 4, day 5, which is not really a setup by any means, but this is just a technical play. So watching how JP Morgan, who recently reported earnings, Morgan Stanley reported earnings yesterday, maybe if there is a little bit more juice in the overall sector, which is the XLF sector, JP Morgan could have that breakout for us to play with. If it does not have that breakout, but it's around that level, then JP Morgan has a short for us to play with. So watching how this level comes into play, without a doubt, on JP Morgan. Bitcoin sector rallying higher, taking Coinbase, MicroStrategy, MSTR, all other cryptocurrency names to the north side. MSTR actually down 0.1%. Really? Wow, that's weird. Bitcoin, BTC USD at 67.873 at the moment. So Bitcoin obviously rallying higher. Looks like Bitcoin is also pricing in a Trump victory. Obviously, Trump is for cryptocurrencies. Kamala apparently might not be for cryptocurrencies. I mean, she's trying to tax your unrealized gains. So for sure, she's not going to be for cryptocurrency, right? She's got to come after all the unrealized gains sitting in cryptocurrency wallets and NFT wallets and all kinds of craziness. So people don't want her winning. Looks like the votes, the polls, and everything are favoring our boy Trump, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Unless he gets assassinated, he looks like he might actually sit on the Iron Throne one more time. So let's see if it actually plays out. And the markets are clearly pricing that in at the moment. So you got some beautiful moves across the board on the whole sector. Here is Mara getting through $18. You can also take a look at Riot potentially for a sympathy trade, but way lower volume these days on Riot. Looks like Riot actually doing much better on this breakout over here than Mara. Usually Mara is the leader and Riot's the lagger, but Riot is currently the one that's pulling up higher, quicker and faster, stronger. Look what I did there. Then Mara. So shout out to RIOT. So maybe Mara can actually catch a little bit of wind over here and pull into the $20 area, which is where the 200 SMA is somewhere through this week into next week. So watching this one, obviously if Bitcoin's moving, you're watching IBIT, you're watching Coinbase, you're watching MSTR also. Baba, the only China name that I care about and the only price that I care about is that 101.50. So if Baba can get under 101.50, I want to be ready to short Baba. If Baba is staying above 101.50, 101.70, 101.50, then whatever. I don't really care about going long, but there could be a long setup over there. But the only level that I really want to play with is to the downside on Baba into 101.50. So watching this one, having maybe an alert into that level would help you as soon as we go down there. It's triggers and you are ready for that play. So I'm just going to put it right there. Then I'm going to move it slightly into 101.80. Right, boom. Last but not least, looks like it's the large cap. Apple, Microsoft, META. Meta gave you a beautiful short below 580 today. So basically you're watching Meta for any pops above into 580. Although I don't think we see 580 coming into play. And I say this because if you look at the 5-minute chart, the stock had a constant seller into 578. So did we actually pull into 580 going into the close? We did not. So yeah, 578, 579. We had a constant seller throughout the day. So it just kept getting sold off, sold off, sold off. META was doing a damn good job staying above 580. But now that we are clearly under 580, today's high is 582, a little bit above this 580 high that I keep talking about. But I am interested to see if we pull back into 580 or anywhere into this 570, 578 area. Potentially a short opportunity setting up, especially if the market's weak. But if the market's strong and Meta is actually reclaiming 580, 582, then there could be a potential long back through this area, as this could be a failed break on the daily chart, especially if this is for how strong Meta was. If this is a failed break on the daily chart, this could have a big blast off potential to an even higher run up, and that means the market's potentially going absolutely bonkers, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. So Meta is setting up for something crazy on the daily chart, either for the upside or the downside. So looking for 580 as this key inflection area for me to look for the short or for me to look for the long on Meta. Tesla, I think, is still consolidating at the moment, so you just let it consolidate. You don't really want to mess with it. You can play at the edges of the ranges, be the edge lord, but don't play in the middle, right? Don't fiddle your fiddle in the middle, because you will just lose. Be an edgelord. These terminologies are used on purpose. Microsoft. So Microsoft, nah, I don't really care about it. Apple, I do care about Apple a little bit because it did have a perfect sell-off into the all-time high. So if Apple does go back into the all-time high, potentially a trade there. But looks like we had a very clear sell-off from the all-time high. Right now we're playing right near the last week's high on Apple. So either it's above last week's high or below last week's high. You could basically say that's today's low. So today's low near 230. Either Apple stays above 230 or Apple gets below 230. That's the under over idea on the stock. But maybe if we look at this one on the hourly chart, it will give us a completely different story. Let's go take a look at Apple on the hourly chart here. Nah, I stick with 290. Sorry, 230. Yeah, I stick with 230. So either Apple gets stays above 230 to 229.75, or it gets below this and then it really sells off to the downside right back into 226 or so, 225 area on Apple. So I'm sticking with my idea over there on Apple. Since it confirmed on one hour chart, I like it even more. So Apple, Meta are basically the only two names I'm kind of interested for the large cap. Obviously, always watching the ETFs, the QQQ and the S&P 500, watching how the market reacts throughout the day to the news, to any of the other main catalysts, with election right around the corner, with war at any time, nobody knows when. Always ready with my finger on the trigger to make a trade. So right now we haven't talked about the US oil stocks in a while, or INDO. Where is INDO? Potentially selling off quite to the downside. Still holding pretty decent, you know, as tensions are still there, but selling off as expected, as people have been kind of walking away from this trade. Right now, the sector to be in, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the nuclear energy. URANNESMROKLO. So the nuclear energy sector, obviously the biotech sector, the small cap biotech sector, very much in play at the moment. You're watching IWM rallying back into the 52-week high here. Is that the all-time high? I don't think it is, right? It is not, but going back into the 52-week high here, showing you that the small cap sector is very much in play at the moment. So lots of small cap sectors, stocks going 3%, 500% up to the north side. Love seeing this. Looks like this one might actually do better than the QQQ for once, which is crazy. If the small cap sector does better than the QQQ for once, that's insane. Let's see if we can do that. I did not think this was going to happen, but all-time high is not that far out for the IWM. And we are right here into the 52-week high on IWM. So shout out to IWM. Lots of opportunity setting up. So keeping an eye on this one. Maybe I put in IWM on my watch list actually. Right below. WM. What is IWM's ATR? I want to say $3.2. Ah, 3.59. Uh, 228.63. Something to keep an eye on if we do go there. I think I forgot to talk about Robinhood, even though it was at the top of my watch list. So Robinhood obviously made a pop in the after hours. Here is Robinhood making a little bit of a trickle, going to the north side for quite some time now. And with today's after hour catalyst, looks like we could potentially get some juice to the higher end on this position. So technical levels like today's high, today's VWAP. Here is the anchored VWAP from that event. So I have it marked as a Robinhood event anchored VWAP. So if we actually start staying above this white anchored VWAP and reclaim that price point, potentially more upside coming into play. But right now, whoever bought based off of that event is all underwater, sadly, on this position. But I think there could be some real juice here on this name tomorrow, especially if we pull back and find buying above above this 3-day high, which is right around what, 27.33. Let's just say 27.50. Give it a little bit of a benefit of the doubt of not even having to pull all the way back for a real gap close. If this juice is real, you want to see buyers fighting for the price around 27.50 to 27.30 area, and really dying for it. So as long as people are dying for the price into 27.30 to 27.50, I think there could be some real explosion. Honestly, I'm expecting the stock to not even give us an opportunity to make a play here in the pre-market. I think in the pre-market, you're going to look at Robinhood at $28, and you're gonna have to make a play around 28, right where the stock was in the after hours here, actually. So we were right around 28 bucks, 28.50. So I'm expecting the stock to easily reclaim $28, and for us to have make a decision between 28 to 28.50. Either it gets below 28 for a gap close into 27, or it holds 28 for a big run up past 28 into $30 tomorrow. So watching some sort of a craziness over here, either to the upside or to the downside. I don't think we'll get an opportunity to play off of 27.30 right off the open. If we do, I think that's a easy long for me without a doubt. I think that's a very easy long for me without a doubt. Obviously, you want to watch for price action to confirm that theory. Always wait for price action to confirm your theory. If your theory is negated by the price action, you could try to play the opposite side, but as I have noticed, at least for me, if I have a theory, call it a theory, call it a bias. If I have a theory, if I have a bias, and the market usually, or the stock usually gives me variables or answers against my theory, price action doesn't match my theory, and I try to go the other side, I often trade those trades not at the fullest potential because of my preconceived bias. So either I'll get out quicker and then I'll try to flip long because I was originally long bias, or I'll try to do the same thing vice versa for the short side. So instead of fighting a theory in my head and then playing the stock to the not at the best of my ability, I just try to say fuck it, I'm not gonna bother with it. Be okay with missing the trade, and the more you get okay with missing the trade, the better you're gonna be at stock selection. And once you get better at stock selection, then you can really slam the stocks that you want to play and really put some risk on them, right? This is something that I'm just now kind of cracking into. I used to trade 10, 12, 13 names a day. Now I kind of trade 6, 7 names in a day, maybe 4 names some days. Some days if there's nothing, maybe 1 or 2 names. So, I'm getting way more selective with my names, but I'm also seeing myself getting way more selective with the setups. I'm okay with letting some setups go at these days where for example, OKLO. I was looking to take the $15 breakout, but I said, the stock could be overextended. I'll just pass on the setup. It was a good setup. It went higher, but I passed on that setup. So being okay with missing trades is kind of the first step to honestly being better at a trader. That's something that not a lot of people will tell you, but take it how you will. Be okay with missing trades. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is basically the stream for tonight. The economic calendar is posted in our Discord, so make sure you join our Discord. If you need a link to join our Discord, that's right, you guys no longer have a link to our Discord in the chat. I forgot, so forget about it. Here is the economic calendar. Tomorrow we have initial jobless claims at 8:30. We have some Philadelphia numbers also at 8:30. Retail sales coming out at 8:30 also. Crude oil inventories at 11 o'clock. What else? Atlanta Fed GDP at 12 o'clock. Some bill auctions, some bond auctions coming into play. Fed balance sheet, that's after the close. Looks like the main things are basically at 8:30. You obviously have a 3-star event, the crude oil inventory, which is not every Wednesday. Why are we having that Thursday? Whatever. So crude oil inventories tomorrow at 11 o'clock. on Thursday for some reason. And we also have 8:30 numbers, which is the Philly numbers, the retail numbers, the initial jobless numbers coming into play for the market to either go higher from that number or go lower from that number. So watching that one without a doubt. Make sure, pause that. Make sure you tune in at 8:30 to listen to all the secrets the markets have as to what directions we want to go for the day. Quickly looking at the IPO calendar, don't think we should see any IPOs because I didn't see any. Ingram Micro Holding Corp, INGM, on the 24th of October. So next week, Thursday, we have a decently priced IPO. So obviously we'll talk about that next week, Wednesday. Tune in for that next week, Wednesday. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote for today's stream. Lots of small cap movers recently, so obviously focus on the small cap sector. If you are new to the small cap sector, I would urge you to maybe trade it on a paper account instead. Trade small cap on a paper account, that way you don't get burnt. Obviously paper accounts, you don't have to pay for shorts, so you can also practice how to short small cap stocks. And then eventually when you actually get the swing of it, the handle of it, then you can move to a live account. But obviously the fee structures and a bunch of things come into play that you might have to learn. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I know quite a bit about all of that fee structure and all that fun stuff, but don't ask me about how to trade small cap because that I don't know. I'm still trying to learn that part. But hey, today was a good day for me on that sector. So wish you guys a very profitable small cap sector for those of you who trade it. For those of you who are new to the sector, once again, practice it. These are the type of environments where you want to take a look at these names. Keeping an eye on these names will build that muscle. You will build the muscle, and especially if you participate in it, you don't have to participate for actual money. You can do it for paper trading. So if you participate in it, that muscle builds, and you will learn by making mistakes, and you will learn by actually taking the trade also. So make sure you do that. Build that muscle, get better at it. Lots of opportunities right now. Energy names, small cap names, semiconductor names, China names, so many names moving around. So let's make some sweet cheddar cheese, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to head out. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. TraderPrad out. Adios. Get ready for trade off. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here, back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.